We'll go ahead here and get started. So today we're going to talk about hiring to grow your business. So as you know, recruitment and hiring has changed significantly during the pandemic, and many of the changes will be lasting. Today, we're going to explore how you can successfully grow your business through recruiting best practices and share tips and tricks to help you hire top talent in a very competitive hiring landscape. If your business is scaling at a reasonable rate, you should be looking to invest in new employees. Hiring new team members gives your company the opportunity to expand into new markets and areas and grow where you've already been successful. So let's take a look at the areas we'll cover today as part of this webinar. Keep in mind, recruitment and hiring is such a broad topic that there really is no way to consolidate everything into one session. I will cover the areas I see as those top tier areas of importance to a new or experienced small business owner, and we'll share tools and resources you can tap into for additional information. So on our agenda, today we're going to cover current job market conditions. So you've probably heard that the job market has gone through a lot of the changes since COVID and the pandemic. We'll dive into that a little deeper there. We'll also talk about building your recruitment process. So there's an old saying, no one ever plans to fail, they just fail to plan. So we're going to talk about the items you want to include in your recruitment process as part of your overall recruitment strategy so that you can set yourself and your business up for success. We'll also talk about crafting a job posting. So when you're advertising, you have a job opening, words that you use truly do matter. So we'll talk about best practices around creating a good job posting that attracts your targeted candidates. We'll also talk about what an employer value proposition is, or an EVP. And basically, I think of this as an elevator pitch for your company's recruiting efforts. We'll talk more about what it is, why it's important, and we'll help you begin to think about the best way to craft your company's EVP. So before we really dive into the content, I just wanted to share a little bit of information about me. My name's Christina Archer. I've been in the talent acquisition space for the last 21 years. I am currently the talent acquisition manager of nursing and advanced practice for Mainline Health, which serves the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania market. I'm also the founder of the RN Network community, which is a talent community on LinkedIn. And I'm also an entrepreneur, author, and the proud parent of 5 wonderful children, who most of which are adults now. But I just want to invite each of you to connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter. And I regularly share articles and important, valuable content related to recruiting and hiring best practices. So I think you'll find it helpful as you're growing your business. Okay, so let's talk for a minute about current job market trends. So big trends will have and continue to have a huge impact on the job market this year. And here's a little bit of what you can expect. As you all know, we've been through a huge amount of upheaval through the last 2 years, largely due to the pandemic, and the situation isn't likely to calm down this year. Hopefully we will see some change in that in 2023, but this year is still going to be a little tough in the talent market. The job market is so volatile, so it's really important to stay on top of changes and trends so that you can remain competitive as you try to hire and grow your business. So the global pandemic saw tens of millions of people subjected to enforced lockdowns, which meant that many people had to adapt to working at home. The good news, I guess, is that lots of people found they love it. A survey conducted by FlexJobs found that 58% of people wanted to work at home permanently after the pandemic, and another 39% really prefer a hybrid environment. So studies have also found that remote workers are more productive than in-office staff, and that remote working opportunities mean that companies can hire from a more diverse pool of talent. Remote work won't just be on the rise in 2022. Different kinds of work will continue to be a key trend in the job market. We're seeing more positions for contract work, project work, and one-off commissions, and more people are finding that self-employment is a better option for them than conventional employment. The gig economy is a big deal now too, and that's not really set to change either. These diverse kinds of working situations will continue to grow, and that means companies will have to adapt to a far more varied kind of jobs market. More people want more flexibility these days, and traditional salaried and hourly positions don't seem to be as appealing to those candidates in the market. So going back to 2021, we saw more open positions than were candidates, which means that job applicants were in a position of power. So this year, expect to see more job listings as companies try to expand and build back from the pandemic, but still assume that candidates hold all of the cards. More job applicants now realize their worth in the job market, and that trend is going to continue. When you think of the Great Resignation, which is basically where a lot of people exited the job market very quickly, you can see that people are less willing than ever to put up with poor working conditions. Another item to consider is don't just expect that companies will be increasing pay, because obviously that's not sustainable forever, but assume that they will provide a broader range of benefits. And in order to compete, it's really important that you take that into consideration as well. Staff this year and beyond will expect more expensive medical coverage, including improved mental health support, and employees will also demand an improved approach to parental leave and remote working flexibility. Now, the last few years have seen a huge growth in awareness around social justice issues, and this has come over into the hiring spectrum. So companies, have to really put this on the forefront as they create their recruitment strategies. Candidates are more educated and aware of these social justice issues, such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they're looking for companies that have this as part of their strategy. So from a business perspective, it opens you up to a broader candidate pool, and also a younger and more aware workforce that emphasizes these initiatives when searching for jobs. Plus, for the business, an equitable and inclusive workplace will attract and retain a happier, more diverse workforce, and that's a win for every aspect of the business. So the ever-increasing influence of technology, of course, big moves to remote working and added pressure on smaller workforces mean that more companies will look towards automation in 2022, and this will certainly impact hiring and recruitment. To meet that need, small businesses and larger companies will turn towards organizations that provide automated services. There's already plenty of evidence of this within human resources. If you have a larger company, there are loads of third-party software packages available that can automate many of the processes involved in staff recruitment and management. This year, you can expect more processes beyond HR to become automated, so jobs become quicker and easier. Artificial intelligence will go hand in hand with increased automation, because AI and machine learning can be used to improve accuracy and results in those automated tasks. So people also will not just be thinking more about social justice issues in 2022 and beyond. They'll be even more concerned with environmental issues too, thanks to the rising specter of climate change. Companies will have to respond to this if they want to keep customers, attract staff, and remain successful. Most businesses will prefer to support businesses that take their environmental responsibilities seriously. Companies that want to attract and retain staff this year need to offer good pay, extensive benefits, clear diversity initiatives, and positive environmental impacts. But that's not all. Candidates now look for companies that match their morals and values. So it's essential for businesses to emphasize their mission and culture in job advertisements. A key trend that we've seen in 2022 is a bigger concentration on company culture in job advertisements and beyond. After all, it is a candidates market, and more staff members want a place to work that's satisfying and reflective of their values. So we've talked about the increasing popularity of remote work as a trend. But another trend is the 4-day work week is increasing in popularity. And while plenty of people love the idea of having a 3-day weekend as part of their routine, trials and studies do show that moving to a 4-day work week can often prove beneficial for both staff and companies. Something to think about. We've already spoken about employees expecting better benefits and improved mental health support in the workplace. And that huge trend will dovetail with the need for companies to measure the impact of these varied additions to their staffing packages. This year and beyond, expect to see businesses deploying innovative new metrics to measure their employees' mental health, physical health, and job satisfaction. Companies will need these numbers to measure how these new benefits and wellness additions are working in the workplace. And they'll need to show their shareholders, board members, or even just themselves the return on investment and whether these changes are having a positive impact. While it's true that remote working and hybrid working environments will be far more popular this year, we also expect to see some pushback against this new way of working. You can expect to find that lots more traditional managers are uncomfortable with so many of their staff spending time at home, mainly because they don't trust their staff to get the job done. That sort of situation will lead to management trying to impose office mandates, which will lead to resentment and unhappiness. I think the lesson there is if remote works for your small business, find a way to incorporate it because it is very popular. Another piece is that candidate experience and taking a holistic view of the recruiting process to streamline and impact the speed with which we hire will also be the key to hiring top talent. So let me just repeat that. The most important piece I just said is that speed is the key to hiring top talent today. And we'll talk about that just a little bit more shortly. So again, automating routine tasks, providing regular, consistent communication to your candidates and applicants, and transparency throughout the recruiting process are just 3 ways your company can improve the candidate experience. So, how to determine if your business is ready to hire? So, when it comes to hiring your first employee, your 100th, your 1,000th, or your 10,000th, it is absolutely critical to understand your needs and act in a timely manner. If you're a busy CEO, it can be challenging to keep your staffing levels aligned with your company's growth goals without overspending your hiring budget. Knowing when it's time to hire in order to meet business needs isn't easy, but it is critical to your success. Not hiring quickly enough, what happens is the work starts to outpace your capacity and it begins to pile up. If you hire too early and you may not have the cash flow that you expected, then you're putting the business, your business and the new employee in a very tough position. So the key is to achieve and strike the right balance, but how do we do that? So I think it's important to determine whether or not your business is legitimately ready to hire. One of the most obvious signs that it's time to hire is when your level of customer service begins to falter. If clients start calling you about missed deadlines or incomplete tasks, it could be a sign that your team is stretched to the max. So not hiring adequate staff, if it's gotten to this point, can damage your company's reputation or result in employee burnout. Other signs that customer service is suffering includes orders going unfulfilled or fulfilled past their due date, or emails and phone calls going unanswered. These red flags indicate that you need to bring someone on board as soon as possible before your customers become disgruntled and decide to move on. Perhaps your business keeps ticking along, but you start to notice increased absenteeism or employee sick days. It might be as simple as hearing from your employees that they're tired, overworked, and frustrated. However, many employees may be unwilling to admit that they're overworked for fear of being perceived as not being up to the task. Assuming your company culture values honesty and open communication, it may be best to just talk to your employees to get a sense of how they're doing. Even if they don't admit that they're overwhelmed, you should trust your instincts and regularly take stock of how the workload is being handled by your staff. Whether it's a lucrative market opportunity or a large contract that lands in your lap, new business can be an obvious sign that it's time to hire. As long as you have a solid business model, hiring new employees to take on new business opportunities should be a win for the organization, even if you have upfront costs related to recruiting and onboarding. Now, you may find that you or your higher paid employees are spending a lot of time on junior level tasks. And this one is very glaring, I think. When this happens, it is time to consider hiring. When you may even yourself be doing tasks that you could delegate. So definitely time to look to hiring. A great way to determine whether you're ready to hire someone new is to start putting a dollar value on your time. Even if you're the owner and you're not paying yourself much of a salary to begin with, or perhaps even you're going into debt to pay yourself, you should have an understanding of your highest value. So let's talk about building your recruitment strategy. The first step to creating your recruitment plan is to get clear on your recruitment goals. So, is your goal to grow headcount? Is it to improve diversity? Maybe it's reducing the cost of making a new hire, or it could be reducing the time taken to make a new hire. Definitely focusing on streamlining the recruitment process and reducing repetitive administrative tasks could be a reason for building a strategy. Also, empowering your hiring managers to be more involved in the hiring process if you have a larger team. Your strategy may encompass improving current employee retention, or it may be to help you become less reliant on external staffing and recruiting resources. It also will want to encompass building a stronger pipeline so that you have talent available when you need it in the future. So let's talk about those pieces for just a moment. For headcount planning, you'll first forecast how many hires you think you'll need over the next 12 months. This will help you plan your approach and determine the appropriate budget to achieve your hiring goals. As a best practice, make sure your org chart is always up to date, regardless of how small or large your business is. And next, you'll want to consider any internal talent that may be promotable at this point to meet your talent needs. It's always far easier to hire from inside the company than it is to go outside, and the expense is less, plus the internal mobility is very motivating to your current team. It's very easy to help that individual ramp up versus bringing someone from the outside. Also, you'll want to identify turnover proactively. Think about your current staff, if you have one, about upcoming retirements, resignations, or any redundancy in the staff, health issues that may be longstanding, and performance issues. Are these people going to be moving on within the year? You'll want to make sure that you're prepared to fill those roles if they're still needed. You also need to get clear about the type of candidates you want to attract. What values do your most successful team members already have? What values do you have that you would want that new individual to have? What kind of person tends to work well in your company historically, and who doesn't? What traits do those people have? If you had to identify common themes between your star recruits, what would they be? Are there differences in these answers in different departments and locations? Uh, Basically, you'll want to create a candidate profile for each type of candidate you're trying to attract for each unique position that you're hiring for. So you'll also want to take a look at your employee value proposition. And if you're a smaller company, you may not have this yet, but it's definitely something that's needed currently in the current market. So in order to stay competitive and attract the best candidates, organizations that will win are the ones who are clear about why someone would choose to work for them over a competitor. This is what's known as the employee value proposition. When you're an applicant, things like the look and feel of the office, team diversity, and the culture are not always obvious. That is, unless the employer makes a real effort to communicate this up front. So definitely something to keep in mind. Again, I refer to that as the recruitment elevator speech. So choosing the right recruitment marketing channels is another key that you have to consider. If you're looking to attract a large volume of applicants fast and in an uncompetitive market, job boards can be a great starting point. If your focus is on quality, then employer branding campaigns on social media, followed up by highly targeted digital ads promoting specific vacancies, might be the best option for you. Think Facebook ads, or when you're on Amazon, those ads that pop up. You can definitely apply that to your recruiting efforts. So just continuing on here, we're still continuing to talk about the recruitment marketing strategy. So the channels that are most popular for this include programmatic recruitment advertising. And that is where, think of your Indeed, if you're familiar with Indeed.com. So it's a job board, but they're able to sponsor those ads that you post programmatically. So more to come on that. Also, just your traditional job boards for advertising can be useful. Leveraging staffing and recruitment agencies are another way to tap into candidate pools. Print advertising. If you have a current team, employee referrals are a great way to get very good talent that will stick with you over the long haul. Also, holding job fairs, doing campus recruiting events can be very helpful in identifying a new candidate pool for your team. Also, in just simply engaging with your existing talent pools to bring them to the forefront and get them interested in new roles. So again, as part of your recruitment strategy, the process is super important to the success of your strategy. Staff turnover can be difficult for any business. It's very expensive as well. One way of making sure that you limit staff turnover is by making sure you have a killer selection process that results in the right people getting hired. There are a number of things to get right here. Number one, you want to ensure your selection process gives every candidate a fair chance. Number two, you want to ensure your best candidates stay engaged by providing that amazing candidate experience. Number three, you want to ensure that your hiring managers or the individuals who are hiring decision makers engage with the process at every level. And number four, you want to minimize unnecessary administrative work by streamlining the selection process. So if you can accomplish each of those items, you will be ahead of the game. All very important and a huge part of your recruitment strategy. Another piece is onboarding. So if your onboarding plan isn't up to par, it's highly likely that you're going to lose that awesome talent you've put so much effort into attracting. When you think about it, 30% of new employees will leave their new job within the first 6 months. That's one third. You have to make sure the background check process is straightforward for your candidate and simple, and that you can move them to hire that much more quickly. You also need to consider, are you prepared to train your new employee once they get started? Oftentimes, employees will leave a new company if they don't receive proper training. Once the candidate has started their new job and they're officially an employee, does the individual feel connected and part of the team? Does the work that they're being assigned match the job description? And are you checking in with the employee regularly to ensure that all is well? These are key. Retention efforts start from the minute a candidate moves to offer. Remember, small things can make a big difference here. You also want to identify tools that can help you as part of your recruitment strategy. Processes that were previously tedious and time consuming can be automated. Data can be stored in a central location rather than using masses of spreadsheets. And modern careers websites can be kept up automatically. The right tools don't have to cost an arm and a leg. It's time to let modern HR tech help you out when possible. So again, we talked about programmatic recruitment marketing platforms. So the days of spray and pray recruitment strategies are over, or the post and pray is what I call it. And you no longer need a full-time marketing team to help you run your recruitment marketing campaigns. Programmatic recruitment marketing platforms enable you to run highly targeted recruitment ads across social media and the websites where their ideal future hires spend their time. And it's all at the click of a button. Think about Facebook ads, Instagram ads. There are all kinds, LinkedIn ads, but that's programmatic advertising. Another tool that I feel small and medium and large businesses need to help them with the recruitment process is an applicant tracking software tool. So applicant tracking systems are as important for recruiting as a CRM would be for sales. The right ATS, or applicant tracking system, should save you an unimaginable amount of time previously spent on repetitive admin. You'll also attract better applicants and improve the candidate experience. Some of the applicant tracking systems out there do include marketing automation tools that are built in, and they have onboarding features. So be sure that you're checking for that when you're looking in the market. Even the most basic will offer at least a branded careers website as part of it and an online application process, interview scheduling automation, candidate communication management. You'll also have the ability to build talent pools within the applicant tracking system. You'll also have team collaboration tools, so you can partner, view candidates together, all kinds of collaborative tools there. And you'll also have a recruitment analytics dashboard to help you see the ROI for your efforts. So one that I can recommend is, there's many out in the market, but one that I have personally used and can recommend is Zoho Recruit. It is excellent for someone who's on a budget, a smaller business, and yet it can be scaled for those larger companies. So finally, the last piece of the recruitment strategy is your budget. And this is pretty important. A well-planned recruitment budget will help you demonstrate the return on investment of your direct hiring strategy to yourself, your senior stakeholders, and position any in-house recruiters you may have or HR in a very positive way. So a comprehensive recruitment budget will include the cost of sourcing your candidates. So that would be your job boards, your programmatic advertising and recruitment agencies, It also includes the cost of selection. So, for instance, a background check, drug screen, or any assessment tools you use. It will also include the cost of onboarding. So if you have onboarding software, drug screens, background checks can be included in that. And then the cost of general employer branding activity and the overheads associated with any in-house recruitment that you do. Some organizations will also include things like an allowance for IT, office equipment, and other costs associated with the employment of your recruitment team. Okay, so we've talked about the components of building that all important recruitment strategy, the things you need to plan for. Now we're going to just drill down a little deeper and let's talk for a minute about writing a winning job posting. When we think of what attracts your target candidates, and if we put ourselves in the shoes of the candidate, they want to understand what the job is, how much they're going to get paid, and the benefits of working for your organization. Your job posting may or may not be the same as your official job description. Job descriptions tend to read more like a legal document, depending on the size of your company, but your job posting is truly a valuable recruiting marketing tactic to attract the right candidate for the right position at the right time. Candidates also want to understand the hiring process. If your process is to review all applications and follow up within 48 hours, find a way to weave this into your job posting. With so many opportunities in the job market and candidates receiving multiple offers within as little as 10 days, you're in a very tight competition for talent. It's also helpful to include an employee testimonial or testimonial video in your job posting when possible. This helps candidates understand what it's like to work for your company and get a flavor of the culture you're creating for the team. Okay, so expanding on what to include in the job posting, it's important to include what does a typical day look like, a day in the life? What will the person be working on? What does success look like in this role? Who will this person work with regularly? Also, what are the key benefits of working with the team, the department team? What will they collectively accomplish? And when you think about that, you're tying their job to the mission, the overall mission of the company. Remember, an effective job posting helps the candidate visualize themselves working for you and accomplishing the important work you have for them to do. So, just some tips on writing your job posting. Your job title should always be less than 50 characters. 50 characters or less, let's say. If you have more than 50 characters, part of your title may be truncated so the candidate cannot read the entire title. Longer titles also negatively impact your search engine optimization or SEO. Think of it like this. Most candidates will search for and find your job opening using Google, Bing, or another search engine. If your title is not optimized, they may never even find the position. So to keep those applicants flowing in, it's very important your job title is posted correctly. So your entire posting from beginning to end should be at 600 words or less. Think about it like this. Candidates are busy and their attention span is short. Less is more, but words do matter. Make your job postings attractive and impactful for your reader. I recommend taking a look at your competitors' job postings and conducting some competitive research around what works for your specific industry and business type. Okay, let's talk for a minute more about your employer value proposition and why it matters. So developing a great EVP for your business is hugely beneficial. It is what's going to attract great candidates to your company and build a brand awareness for your business at the same time. Another way of understanding EVP is what makes my company so attractive to work for. Over time, your EVP will have been developed without any structured consideration, but with the right tools and knowledge, you can take the first steps into creating your own EVP and attract the right talent to see your business grow. So EVP is really derived from the marketing term unique value proposition, which describes the value proposition to customers from a supplier. EVP is then the value provided to employees from their employer. The elements of an EVP include compensation, the total compensation plan or total rewards package that you offer, benefits, including pension, if available, health insurance, paid time off, holiday pay, and it goes from there. It also includes career development opportunities, any training programs, promotion paths and opportunities, opportunities to work in other locations or other departments. It can be the opportunity to learn in a university structure, develop new qualifications and skills. It's also about the work environment, your office design, office location and commuting preferences and options, whether you offer work-life balance, have a well-being program, how your management interacts with the team, your management philosophy. It also can be about the autonomy that you provide to your employees or achievements that they can hit at certain times, recognition for their work. So those are all things to consider. Your EVP will also include your company culture, and this has a lot of buzz around it right now. It's all about building a culture that's inclusive, diverse, and equitable. So you have to know what your company values are. What support do you offer your employees and your existing staff? What are socializing opportunities within the company? Do you do team building activities? Is there a team spirited feel and a collaborative feel to your organization? And really, is there overall trust within your business? So all things to consider. Okay, let's talk about your recruitment process and how it connects to your overall recruitment strategy. In the post-pandemic job market, the recruitment process is a differentiating factor between companies who successfully hire quality talent and those who do not. According to the most recent research available, the one factor that most greatly impacts the candidate experience is the speed with which a company hires them. And we mentioned that a little bit earlier, but just wanted to circle back to that. Remember, we mentioned that candidates are currently receiving multiple offers within 10 days of starting their job search, which is just crazy. If you're not acting fast, you will lose the candidate, and that individual could be the perfect match for your role. For your recruitment strategy to be successful in today's market, you must process, your entire process must be streamlined, simple, and effective. So let's talk about a simple 4-step process that's listed on the slide here. The first step is identify your hiring need, confirm your budget, and post the position. So remember, the candidate gains visibility of the position only when it's posted. So if you are, trying to work on building a job posting, or you need to get approval to make the hire, make sure those steps go fast as well. But definitely the clock starts as soon as the position's officially posted. So you'll want to have the job opening on your company website, of course, external job boards like Indeed, and share on all of your company's social media sites. If this is a hard to fill role, you may want to immediately engage with a staffing firm to ensure you're conducting a focused search. Keep in mind, many staffing firms offer temporary help to fill the gap until you find the right person yourself, or they also offer the option to buy out the contract of your temp worker and transition them to become your permanent employee. It's kind of that try before you buy mentality. This option often works well for a small business who does not have an HR or talent acquisition department to do that focused searching. Okay, the second step is review all applicants within 24 hours. So as you identify potential matches to your open job, pick up the phone and conduct a preliminary phone screen. Some important questions you're going to want to ask that candidate up front just to confirm that they're even potentially the right fit is number one, what are your salary requirements? You have to confirm that that aligns with the position. It's never a good idea to fall in love with a candidate who you can't hire. Also, you want to know, does the schedule work for the candidate? You know, if your job is nights and the candidate can only work days, that creates a problem. So, you know, you want to find that out immediately. Also, another important question is, do they have relevant experience that translates to your job opening? You want to also ask, do they agree to complete a pre-employment background check and drug screen if your company requires that? If the candidate receives an offer, you want to know what date they're available to start. That can be the difference between a hire and not selecting a specific candidate. So, some other things for you to consider as you're on this preliminary phone call with the candidate. Do they communicate effectively during the phone screen? Does the candidate seem genuinely interested in your company and this position? Does the candidate have good tenure at their previous positions, or could they be considered a job hopper? Also, it's important to ask, why is the candidate looking to leave their current job? Does the reason they're leaving make sense? And will it be different at your company? Remember, even though it's a candidate market, you don't want to waste your time or resources hiring a candidate who's going to leave quickly. Work fast, but be focused on hiring the right individual for your company. So I also just want to say a quick shout out to the Pasco Hernando SCORE organization. They've sponsored this webinar. They do offer a lot of resources for small businesses. So you found this webinar today through them. So be sure to check out their website regularly. So that's all that I have for you today. I hope you found this content useful. I really appreciate your time, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's any questions or concerns I can answer afterwards. Thank you so much, and happy hiring.